Welcome to WrestleHook. My name is Brendan, and thank you for joining today's video. Today, I'm going to be talking about Monday Night Raw last night and my takeaways on what I loved, what I didn't love, and what I think about the show going forward. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe, like the video, throw a comment below. Let me know what you're feeling about last night's show. To me, I thought it was very strong overall, and I'm excited to get into it. The first takeaway I had was that I loved the emphasis this week on Dragon Lee. I felt like in the past, Dragon Lee has been stop-start, not really having a clear role in the show, but he had a one-on-one match with Finn Balor this week, and also he came out later in the night to help Rey Mysterio during the main event. Additionally, there was a promo package, a vignette showing Dragon Lee what his motivations are, letting him talk, showing some cool shots of him before his match, and I just thought overall, I was very happy with the presentation of Dragon Lee yesterday. It's not going to happen overnight because he's been so stop-start during his tenure so far, but I think if he's continuously emphasized and pushed like this, he's going to quickly connect with the audience. And even though he's not consistently featured, he still won over that crowd very quickly yesterday in a pretty brief match as well. Now, Dragon Lee did not get the win here, but I thought that it was a good showing. The crowd really got engaged with him, and I do think that going forward, he's going to have to start picking up some pinfall victories. I think some guys to look out for in that realm are going to be JD McDonough. I think they'll have a singles match. They had one in NXT about a year ago, and it was very good. So I think that guys like him, Dominik Mysterio when he's healthy, will probably be some of those early guys that Dragon gets victories over one-on-one, but also he could get a rematch against Finn down the line and get that win back over him. So I like the direction so far. I want to see him start getting some wins, but I loved how much he was featured yesterday. Number 2 is Bron Breakker and how he's been utilized on the main roster so far. Yesterday, Ricochet came out for the entrance with the rib tape on, already selling his ribs. You knew Bron was going to kill him, but it wasn't any less impressive when he did. His Frankensteiner in the corner with his taunt is so incredible. The crowd immediately connects with him, barking with him, and just everything about his presentation so far and his dominance is so exciting. And I think that his match with Ilya next week is going to be incredible. I hope it gets the proper time it deserves, and I think that it will. But both of those guys have been presented pretty strong since coming up, and I cannot wait to see that match next week. I also think that the post-match angles, both again this week against Ricochet, but also in the past against Kel Dixon, have been some of the most interesting post-match angles that they've done in quite some time as far as a guy that's truly unhinged like Bron Breakker. They're not really presenting any other guys like that right now, and I love what it's done for him, and honestly, I think he's a guy you need to rocket strap push. I don't know exactly when you do it, but I think he needs to be featured around the top main event of Monday Night Raw by the end of this year because he is truly on that level already. My third takeaway is a bit of a negative one. I did not love the New Day and AOP match, and I think more in general, I'm just not liking what's going on in the men's tag division right now. After the draft, they had kind of shuffled the tag divisions again. They brought DIY over from Raw to SmackDown, and coming over to SmackDown was the New Catch Republic of Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. Since they did that, they put the belts on the Awesome Truth, not quite on the level of the Judgment Day tag that had previously had the belts, and the division as a whole has really suffered. The Creeds have been de-emphasized and put in the background. Now they have something coming, and I'll get to that in a bit, but the lack of Creeds on the show getting wins, they got squashed by AOP last week. The New Day, that's one of your stronger babyface teams. Obviously, you have the legacy push ability. They got squashed by AOP, and I know it's a part of a bigger story, but I think that the whole division is really struggling right now to connect with me. Now, I think what it's going to take is changing the champions first and foremost, and also starting to build some other stories for these undercard teams. It's natural that the division as a whole would be de-emphasized during King and Queen of the Ring, but now that the tournament is past, I think we really need to ramp those up again and get those belts off of Awesome Truth as fast as possible. But just speaking with the match yesterday, AOP and New Day, I think New Day should have got a lot more offense in. Like I said, I understand that it's a part of a bigger story. I think that it wasn't a very impressive match. Like AOP wasn't doing crazy athletic things. They kind of just beat the crap out of New Day. And like I said, I understand it's a part of a bigger story. I don't love AOP specifically as a team in 2024. And I find that if they're the ones being pushed, everyone else is kind of being diminished right now. it's just not a good division overall. The vibes are pretty bad. Now, with that being said, I actually really liked the women's tag match yesterday, which that's a division that's always been really hit or miss, generally mostly miss, because it seems like whenever teams get in that division, whether it's the champions, one of them will get hurt. The challengers, there's really only ever one or two actual teams formed. But Shayna and Zoe, I actually think, have been gelling pretty well as a team lately. I think Zoe Stark, although she doesn't have the charisma, in my opinion, to really be a singles challenger for belts or a realistic challenger for any champion as a singles competitor, I think her best role is in a tag team like this because she can bring energy, she hits hard, her stuff looks good, even though I think it's hard to buy her as a believable winner in any singles capacity. But her and Shayna, I actually think, have gelled pretty well in the ring together. And then I didn't mind necessarily that Alba and Isla stopped the match before it ended. They were clearly about to get pinned by the champs. I wonder if it's leading to a three-way at Clash at the Castle in Scotland between Shayna, Zoe, Alba, Isla, and then the champions, Bianca and Jade. But either way, I liked the match yesterday. I thought it was a pretty strong showing for the division. The angle afterwards was pretty good too with the beatdowns and then the stare downs. I'm guessing we're going to a three-way. It could just be a one-on-one though, and we'll have to see how that goes. Another part of the show that I was a fan of was Jey Uso acting like a real human being. He still came out with the yeet chants, and he came out through the crowd. It looked really cool. But he started talking like a person. He had real feelings. He had real emotions. He was able to convey those. There was a kid in the crowd by him, and I just love that interaction. He explained his motivations for going off on his own, that he still has a goal left of winning Money in the Bank, and that he had to do it to prove it to himself. It was just a strong segment overall, and it reminded me that I do like Jey Uso. I just did not like the one-note Jey Uso we've gotten for the last 3 months or so. Next, I really want to shout out the first match on this card because it was excellent. Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser. It was extremely physical. You could tell from the start of the match they're going to hit each other very hard. And it's what I would expect out of a Sheamus match. But for Ludwig Kaiser, he has not really gotten any singles matches outside of a match with Gunther's opponent before Gunther fights them. So this has kind of felt like his first true singles feud by himself. And I think that it's been very strong so far. Last week, I really liked the angle that they did where Sheamus chased him down in the back. They fought throughout the backstage. And this week, you could just tell from the very beginning, Ludwig Kaiser comes and takes out the knee of Sheamus before the match even starts, that this was going to be a very physical match. And Ludwig Kaiser brought it. Sheamus brought it. They kicked each other. They hit each other. They spit on each other. Everything looked good in this match. And it looked good in a way that's it didn't look necessarily smooth, but it looked like they were beating the crap out of each other. And you could tell by Sheamus's chest by a quarter of the way through the match. I really liked throughout the match too how they really put an emphasis on Sheamus's bad knee. Sometimes I think limb work can be pretty hard for crowds to connect with in 2024 if it's not done properly. But in this one, Sheamus is a great seller. A lot of his moves obviously require him to be able to move his knees and be able to stand on his legs. And he did a good job at selling that throughout. And Ludwig just kicking the absolute crap out of his leg throughout the entire match, even leading to the finish where Sheamus was unable to hit his finish because of his knee. It didn't lead directly into the finish, but then when he got to the top rope, Ludwig just kicked his leg out from underneath him and was able to pin him with his injured leg. It was a surprising finish. I don't think many people expected Ludwig to get a clean win over Sheamus, even though, you could argue clean because he attacked him before the match, but there was no roll-up about it. He kicked his knee, he pinned him, and it was pretty sweet. It's not something you usually see this type of match on American television, especially in WWE, so I would go out of your way to watch it if you haven't seen this match already. I had to get to Liv and Dom. I've been critical of Liv Morgan in the past, but I thought that this segment with Liv and Dom at the beginning was pretty good overall. I wouldn't have many segments, personally, with Liv just talking to the crowd about, being on a revenge tour, trying to explain things. I think she's much better playing off of Dom and off of people in the Judgment Day or off of other people. The Becky stuff, there wasn't chemistry there, and I think we can kind of just move past that. But I would have her more in this role where she's trying to seduce Dom Mysterio, interacting with other people. I think she came across very well in that part, and I would continue to do that moving forward. I thought Dom was really good in this segment too. Looked very uncomfortable, but then he showed a little bit of a smile, so there's something to break down, something to look at, and I just thought the segment was pretty good overall, and I wanted to shout it out today. And the last thing I want to talk about in today's video is the Sami Zayn and Chad Gable angle. I thought this was very strong, and it's been really strong throughout the entire program. I loved how the rest of Alpha Academy came out. They read that statement because you have the additional intrigue this week of, we know that Gable's contract is running out on Friday per Fightful Select, and the fact that we thought he maybe wasn't there and then he attacked from behind, to me it truly worked, because I thought, I don't know what's going on here. I was trying to look out for any signals that could be leading one way or the other. We ended up finding out that Gable and Sami is going to be official for Clash at the Castle, so I'm not sure that he's re-signed already. They've done short-term extensions in the past when they've finished finalized deals, but I hope he's re-signed, because he's doing the best thing that I've seen him ever do in his entire WWE career. It'd be a shame if this whole summer program was cut short. Back to the segment yesterday, though. I loved the beginning part where Gable was getting in the face of Tozawa. Then he was making Maxine get on her knees and beg for him to stop. Like, everyone in the Alpha Academy is so sympathetic, just so naturally. When he was doing that to Maxine, just the idea that Otis is standing in the corner. Otis loves his friends. He is just this big baby, this big sympathetic baby. Like, it's so fun and easy. And Sami is the perfect person to play off of it, because obviously, the bloodline was presented more serious maybe than this is, but every time that Gable gets to that next level where he's, taking off his belt and he's going to whip Otis, or if he's making Maxine get on her knees and beg him to stop, it does get a little uncomfortable, to the point where it's like, dude, you have to do something about this. Like, we need to see you do this right now. And I love the segment. The part at the end, my only worry with this entire program is I don't want them to wait too long to let Otis actually make the turn. Just because in the past, historically in wrestling, you've seen, if you take a little bit too long, the crowd will stop maybe buying that it can actually happen on that TV show. That being said, they are so invested that I don't think it's really going to make a difference here. I'm just interested in seeing exactly how it's going to play out. Later in the show, they've been doing a lot of those behind the scenes, backstage stuff lately, and Gable was seen talking to the Creeds again. It seems like that's still the direction they're going to be going in, and I'm not sure how they're going to get there, but to me, that's kind of the intrigue of this whole thing. So, that's it for today's video. If you guys liked it, please like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I'm not necessarily going to be doing these reactions every week, but I thought yesterday was a pretty strong episode of TV, and I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. So, let me know your thoughts on the show, and if you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for taking the time to spend watching this video today. Peace.